Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and I'm going to do the monthly pen and ink review for the pens that I had inked up for the month of June 2024. It is an absolutely gorgeous day today. It is Wednesday, June 19th. It's currently 78 degrees. You can see the heat movement from outside the window, and it's going to get up to a nice and warm 94 degrees today, give or take. All right, so here are the pens that I had inked up for this month. I had the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande 2.0. Let's get that in the sunlight. Look at that. And this is a rose gold trim with a 14 karat elastic fine nib. So it does have some flex to it. The next pen that I had inked up is a Laban Rosa in lilac. Again, look at that beautiful cracked resin. And this has a two-tone iridium point extra fine nib. And what I learned this month, I'll give a little spoiler alert, is I love iridium point nibs. Next up is a Benu and Goulet exclusive iced caramel latte. Again, this has an iridium nib. This is in a fine, and I just love how the Benu and the Laban write. Third is the TWSBI Eco Cream and Rose Gold. And this I had noted was inked up with Sailor Chai Latte. I did go back and look at the email from Diana Loves to Plan, who I did the ink swap with, and I believe this is the Platinum Chai Latte. This is the ink that came with the new Platinum Century Shape of Heart Chai Latte. And then my Pelikan M400 with a 14 karat extra fine nib. Love this nib, love this pen. And last but not least, a TWSBI Eco White and Rose Gold with a fine nib. This is a steel nib. And this was inked up with Diamine Tempest. So let's get into it. First up, the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. So I did the swatches to do a side-by-side. This ink color did not change throughout the month. I did give the pen a 10, the ink a 10, and the combination a 10. I love the size of this pen. I love the ink window. I love how juicy the nib is. I love that I can flex it or write it as I normally would. And I did get through quite a bit of the ink. I mean, there's still obviously some in there, but when I swatched this ink in the Wearingeul swatch book, it appeared a little bit more like an orangey coral color, which I thought would bring out some of the colors of the body. I was surprised that it was as kind of rosy pink as it is, but I did love it. And the pen was really comfortable and enjoyable. So pretty perfect right there. The Laban Rosa in lilac. So I inked this up with Van Diemen's Honeybee Eater Wing. This is the first ink that I ever put in this pen, and I had an experience that resulted in me sending the pen back. So I wanted to give it a whirl again. And, the pen, I'm going to give a 10. The ink is a 9, and the combination is a 9. So the color, this ink color was a perfect match for this pen. Absolutely perfect match. There was one occasion recently where there was a hard start, and I had to flood the feed, and then it still was a hard start for a moment, but I have used up all this ink. I really enjoyed writing with this pen. And for a a Van Diemen's ink, it was, pretty well lubricated. This is definitely a combination that I would do again. But I'm not sure that I would buy a bottle of this ink just because I do have Wearingeul Mad Hatter. I have Yosaka Ceramics Tang Mise Blue. So I just have a couple of greens already in this general hue. So yes. Then next is the Benu Euphoria iced caramel latte. And as I was writing this out, I ran out of the Ferris Wheel Press Deep Umber. I really, really, really enjoyed this ink. You can see in this swatch compared to this one, it was starting to run out. So I got every last drop out of this. You can see that is all the way up. So this ink performed really well. It was a beautiful color brown. It's almost a reddish or auburn brown. And the nib, I really enjoyed writing with that nib. It was stellar. All right, next up, the TWSBI Eco in Cream. Oh, and I gave that 10s across the board. So the pen, I'm going to give a 10, the ink a 10, the combination a 7. And so in essence, what I'm signaling here with this rating is the TWSBI Eco, I've spoken highly of in a lot of videos. I've got a couple of TWSBI Ecos in different colors in my collection. I have a few different size nibs. That in my opinion, TWSBI is a really consistent pen. Very, very durable, very consistent. I do know some people may differ in their opinion, or they may have had different experiences, but based on mine, I have found a high level of reliability. This ink, it's a little bit similar to kind of a brandy snap, but it has some really nice shading. And my wondering is, would a fine or a medium nib have shown off the ink better than an extra fine nib? So when I talk about the combination being a 7, that's really what I'm talking about. I would love to put the fine or the medium rose gold nib that I have for TWSBI in this pen and give it another whirl, and I imagine I will really enjoy that experience. So that was the TWSBI Eco in Cream and Rose Gold. The Pelikan, not surprisingly, 10s across the board. That's usually what I give this pen. I love this pen. I love the writing experience. It is very juicy, really, really lovely. This is an ink that probably could be on the lighter side if using an extra fine or a Japanese extra fine nib. It may be a little less legible, but I felt in this nib it really highlighted the color of this ink. It's this slightly dusty pink brown and very slightly pink. It's more the brown pinkish tan, I guess might be better to say. Just realized I pulled that down too far. And then you've already seen this, but the TWSBI White and Rose Gold, this has a fine nib, and I did put a shimmer ink in here. You can see some of that shimmer right there. There you go. So Diamine Tempest, I had been inspired by, I think it was Elise Morgan, had inked up Diamine Tempest recently, and I thought, oh, I have that ink. That would actually be perfect for a black. And then I inked it up, I swatched it, and realized the base is really a very dark blue. a very dark navy with some red sheen and some gold shimmer. So when I wrote with it, it leans really close to black. And when I used it in my work or my kind of planner, my time management planner, not my journal, but my time management planner, I was able to compare it with the other black inks that I have been using, and it really was not discernible. So I was very pleased with that because I was afraid I was going to write with it. It was going to be so starkly blue that I was going to unink it and try a different ink, but that was not the case. So the pen, I gave a 10, the ink a 10, and the combination a 9. What I learned is in my time management planner, I do like a finer nib. I know that this is a TWSBI fine, but I like more of a Japanese fine or even a TWSBI extra fine. This was a little bit too juicy for the purpose that I used it. So that's where that score came down a little bit. Now, my new trend, the newest being the beginning and end swatch, just to see that comparison. But the newest trend right before that is to select a word that described my experience with that pen. And so for the Leonardo, I selected the word soft. For the Laban, I selected the phrase perfect match. For the Benu, and keep in mind it had run out, but I chose Gorgeous Saturation. I wrote this with the TWSBI with Diamine Tempest, and so I made sure to label it. For the TWSBI Eco Cream and Rose Gold, I put Understated. I think it was beautiful, but I could have done a combination that really highlighted that ink. For the Pelikan M400, I chose the word lovely. And for the TWSBI Eco White and Rose Gold, I put pseudo perfect just because it wasn't really black. So that's why I chose the word perfect, but it was really nice. And the other thing that I started learning is if I held the pen a little bit more upright versus at an angle like I typically would with a fountain pen, the line was a lot finer. So that's how I got this little bit of a finer line as compared to some of the other writing samples on this spread. So that is my pen and ink review for June of 2024. Thank you so much for sticking around to hear my thoughts and my opinions. If you are not subscribed, please take a moment and do so that you can be alerted when I upload my next video. And in the meantime, I hopefully will see you in the next one. Bye.